My name is Vanity Duran, and I'm a mother of a young Afro-Latino, and my family is of Dominican descent. I was born in Passaic, New Jersey, and I grew up in Tampa, Florida. My parents, they came to New Jersey from the Dominican Republic. One by one, all of my dad's siblings started moving to the States, and New Jersey is where they settled in. All of my mother's part of the family stayed in Dominican Republic. It was a big culture change, in New Jersey. It was like a melting pot. I did get my first experience of racism up there, but it wasn't until I came down here is that I noticed that I was different, that I wasn't like the same as other Latinas.
So Afro-Latinos are in an interesting spot because they're sometimes rejected from other Latinos who are white, and they are also sometimes rejected for not being Black enough, culturally Black enough by Black Americans, and of whom African Americans are also part. And so that's part of what researchers refer to as this type of triple oppression, especially for Afro-Latinas who find themselves kind of in the center of these exclusionary practices where they're forced to try to figure out who they are when their bodies look different from their own families' bodies, and they're still kind of struggling to figure out, well, what does it mean to be me? Where do I fit? What do I do with my hair? How do I process why I look so different from my family and why my family isn't talking about this? And so it's complicated.
Growing up, it's like my family knew I would end up with a Black man, and so they'll kind of joke about it, like, why don't you try dating a Spanish guy and something like that. And there was there's those awkward comments that are made that you're like, did you just say that? Like, someone did let that slip out, like, dang, you ruined the race by having a kid with a Black American dude. And I'm like, I had to pretend I didn't hear it just because of who it was.
So dating Black people in the Latino community is taboo, really because anti-Blackness is so embedded and perpetuated and reproduced in every aspect of Latino culture and society. So in some ways, this taboo that's associated with dating Black people is really an extension of the type of anti-Blackness that we see in every other aspect of society, especially in Latin America. When we think about dating, families are often thinking about the goal of bettering, right, or improving the family. There are twin terms that exist. So in Spanish-speaking Latin America, we hear mejorando la raza. In Portuguese, it's melhorando a raça. I mean, you have these same terms, limpiando la raza and limpando a raza. In Spanish and in Portuguese, these twin terms exist, and they exist to really accomplish, to really reflect the idea that anti-Blackness is embedded in the ways that families and nations have developed.
My son's name is Zane. He is 2 years old, and his father is Black, and I identify as Afro-Latina. His father and I are not together, but you can see the differences in culture from my family to his family as Black Americans and as Dominicans. So first of all, my pregnancy wasn't really accepted to begin with for many reasons. And there's been comments made like, oh, he's light skinned or he's lighter skinned or he got this from his Dominican side and things like that. And it's just like, what do you say? And seeing everyone's reaction now with Zane is like, oh my God, he's so cute. Oh my God, like they always want to like give him love. And at first, I'm not gonna lie, I resented it. I'm like, okay, so where were you when I was going through all this pain when I was pregnant? I had to really let those emotions go. I had to really, really concentrate and meditate and just be grateful that Zane is accepted. But I just wish I didn't have to go through all the pain that I went through before he came to how he is now.
What we know is that bringing home anybody who is Black is not considered good. The families are socializing family members to not do that. Part and parcel of being an immigrant family is internalizing ideas about anti-Blackness and in particular, anti-African Americanness.
For me, it's been really scary. I'm a single mom these days, even though my parents helped me out. But Not having his father around scared me. I'm like, oh my God, like, what do I do? Like, Zane is a young Black man. He will grow up eventually. Am I fully equipped to protect him, to teach him how to navigate through life? Like, I was terrified. So, if you ask me where I was in the beginning of the Black Lives Matter in May and everything that happened around June, I wasn't really saying anything on social media because I was too busy crying inside because I just didn't know. I was scared. So this experience is just teaching me, yes, acknowledge the fear, respect it because it's there, but I shouldn't let it hold me back from who I am and what I'm doing as a mom. Because if I do, it'll only damage him in the end.
Afro-Latino families are actually really complicated, complex, nuanced. I mean, the work that I've done really shows how, yes, they can internalize and reproduce racism, but in the same sentence, in the same conversation, they can also try to be validating. And that's because they're also trying to reconcile this. They want their family members to feel good about themselves, but they can't quite reconcile how to do that when they themselves have internalized this hierarchy. So you see that battle happening in families. How do families intervene? What can families do? Part of it is educating themselves. Part of it is being exposed to alternative readings of Blackness, of being able to meet other people who are experiencing this and to be able to challenge this invisibility, the silence, and sometimes the explicit suggestion that racism in Latin America or within Latino communities just don't exist, right? And so Afro-Latinos are really facing a very difficult situation because oftentimes when they come to see themselves as Afro-Latinos, it means that they might be in conflict with their own families who don't necessarily want to talk about Blackness, who don't understand why Blackness should be talked about. And they also feel rejected from the broader Latino community who feel as though they're doing a disservice by talking about racism and even acknowledging that racism exists.